While I find historical royal families interesting, see to my videos for example, contemporary royalty holds little allure. I am a red, white, and blue-blooded American after all, and we got rid of such hierarchies centuries ago. American culture, after all, prefers to create and consume its own style of fleeting, disposable celebrity royalty, cycling them out every so often as they become irrelevant. While disposable idolization doesn't quite sit well with me, I can admit that I somewhat idolize true talents. I'm talking about Olivia Colman, G.K. Chesterton, and Chappell Roan, preferably together. If I had to choose, then I would declare myself subject to the one true king, whose royal exploits emphasize the value of flame-broiled beef, crispy fried potatoes, and cool, refreshing beverages. All hail. While I'm not particularly interested in antiquated institutions hiding behind a shroud of faux modernity, I do take notice of one British royal in particular. Though offered the regal moniker of Henry at birth, we all casually refer to him as good old Harry. That's Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. This is my review of his book Spare, and my analysis of its impact since publishing. Welcome to my channel. I am your host, the Professor.
Cut!
What?
We have to address the elephant in the room. What is this? Why are we calling you the Professor?
That's catchy. What's wrong with calling myself the Professor?
Why? Because this isn't Doctor Who. We can't just call you by a title. You need something after it. Professor Blank, Professor Johnny, maybe Professor Folklore Guy. What happened to Johnny the Folklore Guy?
Johnny the Folklore Guy was a different guy. I am graduated since then.
We can't just call you the Professor. You're gonna have to think of something more.
If I am to call myself anything, I suppose you may call me Professor Dark Academia.
Why did I even ask? That's worse. That's worse than it was. But what is that? How can you not see that's worse?
I shouldn't listen to you. This is my channel after all.
I'm the producer.
You're just me in a wig and sunglasses.
He's a fat coat.
When most of us envision modern royalty, seldom do we consider realms of actual true power. Instead, we picture a tableau of fancy dinners, ribbon cuttings, hospital openings, appearances, etc. A world adorned with extravagant hats and designer dresses, punctuated by whispered gossip of infidelity and divorce, and hats and dresses. Pretty photos of silver spoons in gilded frames. Prince Harry's candid account of his 2 tours in Afghanistan were anything but any of that. Man was sweating in the sun. The stark realities of war, as he describes them, are a far cry from the opulent lifestyle typically ascribed to the privileged few. We sometimes forget that this is a book written by a man, about a man, and there's a lot of manly stuff. If your portal to the inside scoop of the royal family is your supermarket checkout rags, this might not be your book. Spare is the memoir by Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, released 10th January 2023. The book details his life from early childhood to present day, including his experience as a royal and his military service, and his ongoing feuds with the paparazzi, as well as his memories of his mother, whom we all love, Princess Diana. And through the sieve of literary license, we can strain the 2 primary themes of this book: his love for his mother and how much he misses her, his disdain for public transparency, most notably his abhorrence for the paparazzi. Many of us think we know Diana, Princess of Wales, but it's one thing to be the subject of a real-life Disney princess, and quite a different thing to be her son. And while we all miss her to varying extents, we can admit with little doubt nobody misses her more than her own children. The Duke of Sussex describes beloved Princess Diana as a loving and caring mother who's always there for him. Harry's mum was a total legend. Unlike her royal predecessors, who costumed up the royal babes and paraded them about as media novelties, despite her royal status, she was determined to shield Harry and his brother, Prince William, from the excessive pressures of royal prestige. He paints her as devoted, who went to great lengths to ensure her two sons felt loved and supported no matter what, even providing for them what she could, a normal-ish childhood. This often meant taking them on secret trips, encouraging them to explore their interests and hobbies, and letting them define who they were without letting the media and public define them for them. And of course, Diana was a total humanitarian.
Africans, dyslexics, children, that sort of thing.
Philanthropist?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And this was one royal privilege she had no trouble sharing with her young sons. Princess Diana famously traveled to Angola to raise awareness about the devastating effects of landmines in 1997. She visited minefields and hospitals and met with survivors, using her platform to advocate for a worldwide ban on anti-personnel mines. She taught them the importance of humanitarian work in Angola, as well as her work advocating awareness of other serious issues such as homelessness in Britain, as well as several deadly diseases including AIDS and leprosy. And needless to say, the young princess caught the bug. The humanitarian bug, not leprosy. Harry has since assumed his mother's duties with both her landmine and HIV charity, even publicly taking an HIV test in 2016 to end the stigma. The brothers even face scrutiny with their feuding over African causes, almost to the point of showboating as lampooned by the media, which, let's face it, if people are receiving life-saving medicine, clean water, and safety from landmines, let the bastards showboat. Harry recalls Diana's infectious laughter, her zest for life, and her ability to connect with people from all walks. He describes her as a protector who is passionate about the plight of impoverished and underprivileged people and who used her platform to promote public justice. Let's see AI come up with that firecracker. Her memory continues to inspire and guide him, even years after her passing, and it is the nature of her passing that feeds directly into theme number 2. In Spare, Prince Harry delivers a scathing critique of the paparazzi, drawing explicit parallels to his mother's experiences, events in her life that would ultimately directly lead to the end of that life. He characterizes the relentless intruding into his personal space and violating his family's privacy as a source of immense mental and emotional distress, as well as a catalyst for his own mental health struggles. Harry recounts numerous instances of dangerous paparazzi pursuits, lambasting the media's insatiable appetite for intimate moments, and willing to risk their own safety and freedoms for that cheap and easy meal ticket that caused detrimental impacts on his friendships and relationships, both familial and romantic. Harry criticizes the media's perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and misinformation, even accuses the paparazzi of exploiting his image for financial gain while disregarding the consequences of their actions.
What will you learn? What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
But he owns up to his mistakes as well. As a young privileged man in his teens and 20s, Harry was no stranger to typical frat guy humor. Prince Harry's 2005 decision to don a Nazi costume for a Halloween party faced swift, widespread condemnation due to its insensitive nature. He subsequently offered a public apology, acknowledging the choice as a terrible mistake in light of the Holocaust's historical context and his public role as a role model. Similarly, his decision to play billiards in the buff at a Las Vegas hotel in 2012 and allow photography of the occasion by consenting acquaintances was the subject of similar public criticism. While the incident wasn't explicitly offensive among the circles to which it was intended, the event did raise questions about Harry's judgment and his behavior as a public role model. Tomfoolery aside, Harry makes some solid points in his argument against these camera-happy saboteurs, most significantly their involvement surrounding his 2 tours in Afghanistan. Prince Harry's determination to prove his worth beyond his royal lineage is evident in his deployment in active roles, rather than serving as a costume farce for appearances, as some privileged few in his own family have been accused of in the past. He began his career as a forward air controller and subsequently as an Apache helicopter pilot. His book details his intense training, the camaraderie forged under fire, and the adrenaline-fueled missions that defined his time on the front lines. However, the relentless pursuit of the paparazzi posed a significant threat to not just Harry's military career, but the military itself. The unauthorized publication of details about his employment, including his location and movements, compromised the entire operation's security. It was bad enough, perhaps even status quo, that the media intruded into his personal life. But it's pretty goddamn despicable they jeopardized the safety of his hardworking and well-meaning comrades that did not sign up for the royal treatment. Harry contends that his decision to end his military service was ultimately forced upon him due to the challenges posed by the paparazzi's complete and disgusting disregard for national security. And if my language sounds like bias in these circumstances, it's because it is bias. I am biased. Treasonous, all of them. Gallows fodder. Besides losing and then missing his mother, and then living a privileged life evading and combating the media, Harry's memoir reads as a fairly cookie-cutter account of a basically average man stuck in extraordinary circumstances. Harry describes his teenage years, which were famously depicted as rebellious, and his earliest desires to break free from the constraints of royal life. He talks about his experiences at Eton College, and his string of failed relationships with admirable young women who emotionally felt compromised, and justifiably, understandably so. And as mentioned previously, Harry also opens up to us about his mental health struggles, including his battles with anxiety and depression. He credits his wife, Meghan Markle, now the Duchess of Sussex, with helping him to overcome these challenges. And finally, throughout the book, as another major theme, Harry reflects on his relationships with his family, particularly his brother, Prince William, and his father, King Charles, then Prince, at the time the Prince of Wales. He is critical of the way they have treated him and Meghan, and how they turned a blind eye to the abuse conducted by the paparazzi and media, and how passive they are to the wills of the public. And he suggests they're unwilling to change, or rather even afraid of change. The book is a powerful indictment of the British royal family, a scathing critique of an institution that is seemingly stuck in a bygone era. Harry paints a vivid picture of a family resistant to change, people that prioritize their own preservation over the well-being of each individual member. As of the recording of this video, it has been over a year since Harry published the book, and likewise longer still since he's written it, or rather co-authored it. After all, this book was more likely mostly written by the ghostwriter. In that time since its publication, Harry and Meghan have more or less left the royal family. They still have their titles, and he still holds his place in the line of throne, but they have since moved to America and tried to start a new life, not necessarily out of the public eye, but with a little bit more freedom and less scrutiny. America is kinder to Harry. After all, he's married an American, so we've almost adopted him as our own. And of course, the tensions that he relates in the book with his brother and father have since come to light, and since then we've put our own magnifying glass to these struggles. The release of Spare has had a significant impact on the British royal family, leading to a period of internal turmoil and public scrutiny. The book's revelations about a strained relationship between the two brother princes has widely been discussed and debated. While the brothers have attempted to maintain a public facade of unity, it remains to be seen whether their relationship is or can be repaired. Many still and continue to question the institution's relevance and its ability to adapt to changing times. There have been some calls for reform, including reducing the number of working royals, which is also something that has been emphasized and come out as Charles and William try to focus on their direct lineage and not their cousins who maintain still to this day royal duties. The book also has promoted a discussion on mental health. Harry's own mental health struggles in the book have helped destigmatize the issue and has led to increased calls for greater support for individuals struggling with mental health problems regardless of their class, background, or privilege. It is shown that all of us struggle just to varying degrees and in different ways, and everyone should seek help if possible. Despite the challenges faced by the royal family in the wake of Spare, the institution continues to hold a significant place in British culture, society, and media. However, the book's revelations have undoubtedly forced the monarchy to confront its own shortcomings and to consider the need for change. As this is a dark academic official review, I am compelled to weigh the book to the standards set forth by the channel. Number one is readability. Spare is highly readable due to its conversational tone and Harry's ability to connect with readers on a personal level. The book's candid and relatable narrative style make it easy to engage and understand. It reads quickly and comfortably and allows you to sympathize with Harry's pain and loss. In terms of readability, 5 out of 5. 2. Passion and interest. I have until now not yet critiqued a true memoir on this channel, so this category might seem a wee bit out of place. The subject is the man's life. After all, I would expect him fairly passionate about his own memories. And yet, partially, perhaps due to the co-authorship, true passion is not exercised where expected. Whether that be polo, military duty, naked billiards, or even Meghan, his wife. It's almost humdrum in many cases, factual sounding, and unlike somebody's core memories. 3 out of 5 for passion and interest. Number 3, character development. I mean, what's to say? These are, again, our real, factual, historical people. And yet they do contain character arcs. While his family members, notably his father and brother, seem to kind of stay the same stiff stalwarts throughout the narrative, Harry seems to go through many changes, adapting, and what's it called with the butterfly does the thing in the chrysalis? Metamorphosizing, Pokemon evolving. Harry is a true Pokemon.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Harry. He does indeed grow as a person and recognize his problems and shortcomings. He goes from a young boy missing his mom to a man having served in the military and faced another war on the home front. In terms of character development, yeah, 5 out of 5. Style and structure. Again, this is a memoir, an autobiography. One might expect it just to begin at birth, end with now, and just pinpoint the events along the way. And indeed, it does do that. That is its framework, its matrix, shall we call it. But it really explores the space beyond that structure. Like I said, the book has 2 primary themes, his mother and the media. It's a very clever and creative structure. 4 out of 5 for style and structure. You might call that original, but honestly, Harry and his co-author could have explored the boundaries of originality in terms of style for this memoir. I realized they were trying to make it simple to read and easy to digest for the average public reader, and yet there was definitely still some room to grow. 4 out of 5 stars. So, all in all, what do we give this book solidly? I would say, after all that's been discussed recently, 4.5 out of 5 stars. To Spare by Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, as awarded by your dear professor, Dark Academia. Thanks again for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, please subscribe, and of course check out the other videos. Also, there is a Patreon link in the description. We would love it if you wanted to give us a little bit. We've just reopened Patreon, so we'll be excited to explore where that might lead us. At least if you're expecting to get an A this term, you might want to consider it. I've been the professor. You're always welcome in my corner of the library.